What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So today we are back going to be talking about Survivor Season 47, Episode 5. We are the last episode right before the merge. So my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa, and this episode, there were some plot twists, I feel like. So I am very excited to get to talk about it, get to talk about, what's happening next. There's a lot that's kind of bubbling under the surface now, I feel like. So it's about to get spicy.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Mergatory fake merge next week. That is going to be good. But we started off this episode with the reward challenge. I liked seeing all of their faces and like the little commentary we got when they're walking in and then they realize, oh crap, there's only 2 tribes set up for this challenge, not 3. And then you can see, okay, perplexion. Does this mean the fake merge is happening now? What is happening? I liked this idea. Like, if you aren't going to do the tribe swaps anymore, I liked this. Let them intermingle, let them create new relationships. This is good and fun for strategy.
Yeah, I also think it's really nice because it's not about like taking away people's votes. And I feel like a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
like more modern survivor twists end up being like taking away votes, giving extra votes, giving idols. And I feel like something that is like a purely like strategic social twist is like more, I guess you could say, more fun, more interesting than something that is just like a twist for a vote, because this could have like longer ramifications, I feel like, than just one vote.
I agree, especially right before the fake merge, allowing people to talk to other people. I think that is really good and fun. And there's even like relationships that might be coming up next week, as we saw forming this week. But the challenge, you have to go through the obstacle course and untie bags, do a ladder maze, and then you climb the ladder in order to get more bags, and then you shoot baskets at the end. They split into 2 randomly drawn teams. The first is the blue team with Annika, Andy, and Sierra from Yellow, Rome, Genevieve, and Soul from Red, and the Soul Blue member Gabe. Then the yellow team is Sue, Kyle, Tiana, and Caroline from Blue, Teeny as the Soul Red member, and then Rachel and Sam from Yellow.
I really like that these teams shook out to be not totally even, just because I feel like that then made the dynamic when they had their like survivor social interesting, because since you had Teeny as the sole red member on the winning side, it's like Teeny gets to choose the whole narrative, what everyone else hears
Mm-hmm.
about red. And like the same thing would have happened if the other team had won, because then someone would have gotten to choose the whole narrative for like blue. And so that's always just, I think, really interesting. Obviously it was randomly selected, so like it could have been selected in a different way, but I really liked that kind of dynamic. I almost wonder what it would have been like if there was like a schoolhouse pick and
Ooh.
they had to like pick like, oh, I want this person on my team because I want to hear what they have to say about their tribe dynamics. But I get why they didn't do that, just because that would have probably added a layer of complication that didn't need to be there.
That's actually something I think Survivor should bring back, the schoolyard picks. And it's like we've talked about it before, the challenges where you have to say, oh, this is the most annoying person on the tribe, or you have to like chop their axes and then 3 strikes, you're out of the challenge. Like challenges that sort of can offend other people. I think a reward challenge where you have to pick 2 people are the team captains drawn randomly, and then you have to schoolyard pick would cause a lot of drama. I think we should bring that back, similar to like this social hour reward being good for strategy and interesting and like a lot of talking. People would read into a schoolyard pick as strategy. I think that would be fun to bring back.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. So maybe they should start shaking things up more.
Exactly. So the challenge is a challenge. It was very close shooting the baskets at the end. I did like that everyone on the team had to score a basket besides the two people that were the rebounders. I like that usually in challenges when everyone has to do the task at hand. So it's not just like, oh, this person plays basketball, they're going to shoot all of our shots for us. But if one person is a little bit bad, it messes up your entire flow and it puts a lot of pressure on that one person if they somehow suck at basketball here.
Yeah, I like it when they do split up the thing like that, but I also feel like it then can also be weird because sometimes like people hurt themselves by like stepping up to the hero position. So not having like one person be like, "Oh, I can solo the basketball." Like I kind of like it when people do that and then end up screwing themselves over because of their own like hubris, but I understand why that didn't happen.
Sort of funny when that happens, but yellow wins this challenge. So that's the Sue, Kyle, Tiana, Caroline, Teeny, Rachel, Sam group. They go to the social hour at the sanctuary and they get one hot dog each with no sides, no condiments, no nothing. I was like, this is the most lame hot dog ever. One dog?
Yeah, like one hot dog isn't even that many calories, so it's not even like they're being well fed. Like I feel like social hours like it would be more interesting if they had like a spread of appetizers, like some veggies and dip. Like because one of the things about food is that it does like encourage the socializing where it's like, "Oh, I'm going to nibble and while I nibble, we're going to talk." And it's like it didn't feel like they were encouraged to be social as much as they could have given like the whole like premise of the challenge.
Yeah, I feel like Jeff played it up too much. He's like, oh, barbecue, you're grilling the dogs, you're playing cornhole. It's a nice afternoon in the backyard. I was like, this is the most lame barbecue ever. I was like, you got to get alcohol in there for people to start talking. But like, really, the food doesn't matter. It's the social relationships you're creating matter. But like, this is a lame sanctuary. One hot dog each. That sort of sucks.
Well, they also got a soda. You can't forget about the soda.
Ah, true. But like Alyssa mentioned, Teeny is the only person there for Red Team. So good for them. They can basically just control the entire narrative of what happened last week and also just say whatever they want. Because, yes, it can be fact checked next week going into the merge, but like you obviously wouldn't want to spill all the beans, but you can more make it play, okay, things are going bad for me. I'm on the bottom, which they sort of are, and then play up like, okay, I'm a wounded bird. Come help me, come merge.
Yeah, I think also like you can fact check come merge, but
Mhm.
also like there's a bunch of like cognitive biases where like even if we know that something is wrong, if we've heard it enough times, we still kind of believe it, even if we know that it's wrong. Which like cognitive bias is so interesting. People should make more use of them on Survivor. But like I think that's kind of an interesting thing where like even if you say something blatantly false and they fact check you later, there's a part of them that's going to be like, but what if? So
Maybe I misheard, or it's a game of telephone and it's somehow changed by the time you hear the third hand story of it. I feel like I would want to be the solo person on my team there. Opposite of that would be basically your entire team there, where Tiana then throws out Gabe's name. I feel like it's hard when basically your whole tribe is there because obviously you're not going to throw out Kyle's name when he's sitting right there. You're wanting to give information and appear trustworthy. So for Tiana, you're like, okay, Gabe is the only person I could bring up. Also, a plus that I don't like Gabe. So obviously, I'm going to bring him up. But it is just so bad when everyone else is there, unless everyone also somehow hated that same person. And maybe like Caroline and Sue are acting like they hate Gabe. But it's just so dangerous, I think, to throw out a name just in general.
yeah, in general, but also I feel like Tiana didn't do a very good job of being like subtle about it. She was like, I go based on vibes and I don't really vibe with Gabe. And I'm like, you could be a little more subtle about it and just be like, oh, like I'm sad Gabe isn't here, and then like throw in something that like could be a compliment but also could be backhanded about him. Like he would have had something to say about these hot dogs. Like if I heard that about someone, I would be like, oh, tea? Just like I think there are more subtle ways to go about still throwing the same person under the bus that maybe Tiana didn't do as well as she could have.
Yeah, like simply saying, oh, he was looking for idols for 3 days. He was running around the island, tearing it up. He's probably looking for an idol back at camp now because he's the only person there. That still a little bit out there, but also that's 100% true. And even at their tribal council the first time, everyone said, yeah, Gabe was tearing up the island looking for idols. So you could play dumb and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was throwing you under the bus. I was just telling people what happened. But if you're saying, yeah, Gabe, I don't like him, that's a lot more pointed compared to here's something he actually did. You can get mad, but you can sort of play it off more.
Yeah. But it ended up, I feel like, being worse for Tiana than it did for Gabe, because then Tiana had to do damage control because like everyone else was pissed about the fact that she threw Gabe under the bus. So you got to be really careful.
Like Gabe probably working with one person there. There's no way he's just totally singled out. So it's just dangerous to say a name in general, saying his name because his ally's probably there at the camp at the social hour with you. Which it was true because then Sue back at camp goes and tells Gabe what Tiana was saying and then threw him under the bus that Tiana was doing that at the social hour. So that's a good ally, Sue telling him that's good. And then we see Caroline telling Tiana that she needs to apologize to Gabe. And then Tiana does apologize, which I was like, oh, that is some crazy good social capital from Caroline that like you can literally go up and tell someone they need to apologize for this and then they do it.
Yeah, but I also feel like it's either a misread on Caroline's part or Tiana just like didn't apologize well enough, because Gabe was kind of like, okay, this apology means nothing to me because I know that it was like coerced. And so I'm kind of like, does Caroline know that Gabe wouldn't care about the apology? Like, is she asking Tiana to apologize to get, like, it didn't seem to actually repair that relationship. And so that seemed to me like that was what Caroline's goal was with asking Tiana to apologize. So I wonder, like, maybe good social capital that she asked Tiana to do something and Tiana did it, but in other ways, not a great social read if she thought that Tiana apologizing would heal the relationship between Tiana and Gabe.
Yeah, it feels like she wants to go into the merge with like Blue strong and trying to make sure everyone's on the same page, going in as like, okay, all of us aren't spilling the beans, all of us are actually together in the hopes of like maybe bringing in some of the stragglers from the other team kind of thing. It is interesting though, like it would be interesting to hear her reasoning for why she wants to go in as a tight five when like there are some obvious cracks. Like maybe Sue should go apologize for Kyle, or Kyle should go apologize to Sue for writing her name down, kind of thing. So it feels like there are cracks here. So it's also like, yeah, like you're saying, apologizing might not be that helpful, but Caroline does want to go seemingly into the merge with 5 strong.
Yeah, which again, like you said, I would have liked to see what her reasoning was for the 5 strong when there were cracks, but I feel like sometimes like we don't get as much reasoning and we're left to infer people's reasoning, especially because Blue didn't end up going to tribal, which I feel like we talk about a lot, where like the team that doesn't go to tribal, or the teams plural who don't go to tribal, like end up not getting as much screen time because they need to devote a lot of screen time to the ones going to tribal.
I agree. I feel like maybe it's something that next week Tiana gets voted out at the fake merge. That could be something because we see Gabe like fact check Tiana's apology with Sue, and Sue's like, nah, that's wrong. Also, she's still lying to you. And then Gabe's like, yeah, I want to crush her survivor dreams, make her cry, yada yada. So it seems like Tiana might be booted soon because Gabe seems like someone that would want to get revenge on people.
Yeah, I could also see it somehow backfiring on Gabe, but I find that less likely, especially because Tiana hasn't been as big of a part of the story of this season, I feel like, as Gabe has. Part of that might just be the whole idol thing and the fact that like it's hard not to give someone who finds an idol screen time. But it seems like this is going to blow up, and probably soon. So
I agree. Hard spot for Tiana to be in. I feel like better just not to talk. I didn't see anyone else throwing out any names on the blue team, but Gabe's the only name you can throw out because he's the only one not there, kind of thing. We also see Sue at the social hour ask Sam. They said, "Oh, we heard you and Sierra are running the show over there." I do wonder for Sam bringing this information back to camp if that played into Annika being voted out this episode, because other people on the other teams are hearing you two are running the show. Only two people that would have spilled are the people that went on the journey. So only Annika and Andy could have told about them two being a power couple. Like, irregardless of the dating rumors of Annika bringing that back to camp, someone would have said, yeah, these two are a power duo running things at camp. That's different from, oh, they look good together.
Yeah, so I do think it's interesting. Sam referred to the like power couple relationship as a secret relationship, and I was like, no, it never was actually. So, but that that was the thing that stuck out most to me when he came back to camp. But other than that, yeah, I do think that it definitely contributed to Annika getting voted out, just because I think it also kind of started pressuring Sierra to like make that final choice between like, am I going to go with the girls or am I going to go with the guys?
Exactly. Speaking of the women, we see Rachel, Caroline, and Teeny forming a bond. I feel like they could link up come the merge because Caroline and Teeny, they have the three-way amulet idol with Andy. And so we see them talking here also. So then maybe Caroline, Teeny could double link up. I also think Rachel and Teeny are going to be in very good spots come the fake merge next week because they're basically free agents. Rachel losing her BFF this week and Annika, Teeny losing Asia and Keyshawn. You just go into the merge having way more options. I think that's the best case scenario. You want your best ally to be voted out right before the merge. So you go into the merge looking like you're on the bottom, you're weak, you could be picked up by one of the larger cohorts. Same even with Soul and Andy. I feel like these people could go far in the game.
Yeah, I feel like it's difficult because like being the solo person is good for a while. Like it definitely gets you through the early merge, but if you can't then create new strong relationships throughout the merge, then you're just going to end up being like a mid-merge boot because once people realize that you're kind of a free agent, like it becomes threatening at a certain point and people don't want you around. So I'd be curious to see how long that can last for each of the people that are kind of free agents, and then also how much they actually end up being free agents. Because I feel like sometimes people say that they're free agents and then they end up like sticking just with one side of the numbers anyway. So
I agree. I think also with the fake merge being a free agent, especially if they split it like 6 versus 6 again, could be very dangerous. If you're someone who doesn't have bonds in your group of 6 and then everyone's voting, like they're just going to vote you out because nobody is that close with you. You're going to ruffle the least amount of feathers. But in like the regular merge, when they need more numbers, then I think that is a good spot to be in, being picked up and then working with new people. But yeah, I think next week, tricky spot for people that don't have that many allies out there because it would be an easy vote. Oh, this person's not immune and they don't have that many people batting for them. Easy to vote them out.
yeah, for sure.
But we also see a lot of times come the merge that tribes that don't go to tribal council that often pre-merge start to implode. So I could see Blue imploding next week.
Yeah, which would be fun. I love watching a good tribe implosion.
Yeah, so we go back to camp after the social hour. Rome and Soul are talking about voting Teeny out. They're throwing Teeny under the bus. Rome telling Soul all the secrets about the tribe to throw Teeny under the bus with the amulet and all of that. And then saying that Genevieve doesn't want to work with Soul long term. I think it's good. Soul just approaches Genevieve and is like, yo, you don't want to work with me? Question mark. Just clear the air. I feel like in life and in Survivor, it's so easy to fix miscommunications if you just talk about it and bring it up. Genevieve is lying about, oh, yeah, Sol, I do want to work with you, but truthfully, she doesn't want to actually work with him long term. But Sol doesn't need to know that, like she says.
Well, also, I feel like this changed the relationship between Genevieve and Rome, because Genevieve was like, Rome, why are you telling Sol all of this? So I think that's one of the things too, where like Sol approaching Genevieve with this information, like this is what Rome told me, kind of then puts Rome in a bad spot because like he been blabbing. So yeah.
I agree. I also think from Sol's point of view, Genevieve says no, he's lying about that. And she brings up, no, oh, Rome was saying that you, Sol, wanted to vote out Teeny. Then Sol can be like, no, Rome wanted to vote out Teeny. I think because there's already one lie there, it makes Genevieve lying about the wanting to vote Sol out like more believable because there's already one lie there rather than, oh no, Rome was actually telling the truth about everything.
Yeah. So I love that little bit of interpersonal drama where everyone is talking to everyone, but then also we get to see everyone's conversations with everyone else. Because I feel like sometimes we would see like the conversation between Rome and Saul, and then we would then see the conversation between Genevieve and Rome, where Genevieve would be like, "What the heck?" But we never actually would see the Sol Genevieve conversation that like caused her to then be like, "Rome, what the heck?" So I liked. It felt like a different series of events than we normally see.
Yeah, I thought this was fun. And it also, like you're saying, with the Genevieve Rome relationship maybe being a little bit iffy, seems like Genevieve wants to keep Teeny around. It could a little flip up and Rome could get voted out sooner rather than later if people are realizing, okay, he is lying a lot, sort of sketchy, let's vote him out. He's got no more advantages. Could be someone you throw under the bus come the merge.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the immunity challenge. Yellow team comes in and they want to trade their chickens for eggs. I feel like Jeff went way too easy on them here. Like second place in that challenge got 6 eggs and first place should get 12, double of 6. Yellow, they come in and say, we want 24 eggs. Jeff says 15. Yellow then says 20. Then Jeff says 18 makes a deal. It's so many.
I feel like part of it is, though, if you think about it, like purely from a calorie standpoint, they aren't eating the chickens because Sierra is uncomfortable with killing and eating the chickens. But 18 chicken eggs is still not comparable calorie wise to what it would be if they just killed and ate the 3 chickens. Because I feel like Jeff was like, oh, it's like the lottery where like you want to get the lump sum instead of being paid out the whole way. And it's like, but also you could just eat the chickens themselves. And so I feel like that has to factor into the calculations as well, because it can't just be like, oh, these are the eggs you would get from the chickens. Like the chickens themselves are also part of the like calorie deal, so to speak. So I feel like that might be why Jeff went a little easy on them, because it's still fewer calories than 3 chickens would be.
They should have just waited a couple more days and then the other teams would all merge and then they would eat the chickens. I feel like it is like RIP because they get these eggs, but then they lose the challenge. So then they can't even eat the eggs. And then the fake merge is going to happen next week. Then they're going to have to share the eggs. I would be so sad. It's like, damn, we need to gobble all of these up or not share it come the fake merge. Cause I'm like, it's not fair. 18 eggs. Everyone's only getting 1 if you're merging.
Well, also, like, how good are these eggs without refrigeration, like on a tropical island? Because I know, like, in the US, it's generally like we refrigerate our eggs, but other countries don't refrigerate their eggs. But also, there's a difference between like room temperature and like 80, 90-degree heat. So
I was thinking that too. Like, I get sketched about my food just leftovers being in the fridge for a little too many days. I'm like eating eggs in that heat. I'd be so sketched out.
the last thing you want is food poisoning. But I don't know. Maybe the producers are nice and they're like, just tell us when you want the eggs and we'll get that. Like, we'll give you refrigerated eggs. Because I'm sure that producers also don't want like an entire tribe to get food poisoning. So
Yeah, basically you'd have to eat all 18 eggs in the next day and a half. Otherwise, it'd be sort of bad. Yeah, maybe they do refrigerate it and then give you good eggs if you wanted them. Yeah, I want to know now.
yeah, but who knows? Not me.
So gross. I'm thinking of dirty eggs. So the immunity challenge, you have to drag this heavy net along the course, get more sandbags, making the bag heavier. You're throwing these sandbags at a puzzle, then you're going to recreate the puzzle. The way Andy was using the saw, first backwards and then regular, it was just so funny. I was like, he's thrusting into the thing. It was just so odd.
His like pants of exertion when he's like I was like, my guy, are we okay here? Like it seemed like he was doing something wrong with the saw because it took him so much longer than everyone else. But like I don't know what proper sawing form was or like what he might have been doing wrong. It was unintentional comedy.
I want to know too, like everyone else did it so quickly, so and they weren't grunting and they weren't thrusting that much. So like maybe it was more upper body forearm strength in order to saw, but I was like, this is so funny.
Yeah.
So we also see Tiana. It was funny. She does a big grunt when she's throwing the first sandbag and then no blocks fell over. I was like, that's sort of funny.
Yeah, but it also looked like those blocks were heavier than they looked. Because like even Saul was like beating them and they were like barely budging. So I wonder, part of it seemed to be like the physics of like which block you hit. Because some people were throwing blocks and like the entire column of blocks would move. And then some people were throwing and it was like one block would maybe scooch a little. So
It's funny. I think I would go up like Tiana and be like, okay, this is going to be easy to throw and knock them off. And then to have nothing fall and like the sandbag to totally just bounce right off so easy. It's like, oh, dang.
yeah.
But it was also crazy. Soul just walked up calmly, strong arm though, and then knocked so many blocks off each time. It's like, dang, gotta have a good arm for that. But then it sucked for Red though that they knocked him off so quick, but then the blocks that fell were blocking the bottom blocks that were still on the stand. So then they lost so much time trying to knock those bottom blocks off.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that it was like they could not be touching the stand at all. So like if a block was like leaning back against another block, like it had to be then like pushed further. Like if I were a producer, I would be like, no, yeah, that's fine. You got them all knocked. That's enough. But I guess I'm too nice to be a Survivor producer.
It's wild though, like knocking them off when they're being blocked down there has got to be so hard. So it is sort of good that they didn't lose because they put in so much effort to knock those bottom ones off. Yellow and red were so close on this puzzle fighting for second place, like one piece basically. Soul trips backwards on the way to the mat. But Red was so happy
I
to
would
win.
have
It was a cute
laughed
moment.
so hard if Salt with tripping was the reason why Red didn't win. But honestly, it was interesting because like Yellow, I think, ended up blaming a lot of their failure on Andy. But to me, it felt like Sam during the puzzle was causing a lot of undue stress because he was like yelling about like I can't see the pieces, and I was like, dude, take a deep breath. Like you're doing fine. It didn't seem like they were like struggling with the puzzle as much as Sam's like comments would make it seem. So
I feel like it seems like Sam stresses out in times of high stress situations in these challenges because here we see them like sort of fighting, sort of yelling, and Rachel's like, no fighting. In the other challenge where Annika and Sierra and Sam are doing the like balance puzzle maze, and then Annika is like, don't yell at me kind of thing, no yelling. So it seems like that could be the case. Also, like Annika and Rachel are usually on these puzzles and they beast it out for their team. So low key though, if Annika didn't sit out, maybe Yellow could have caught back up and won the challenge if they had their puzzle queens both on the puzzle.
yeah, it It always makes me feel a little bit bad when someone gets voted out after a challenge that they didn't participate in, because it's like maybe if they had participated, they could have actually they could have saved themselves. Whereas like Annika getting voted out when she didn't even have the opportunity to like do this puzzle, save herself, like feels icky.
And no vote. So yellow team loses. We go back to camp. Andy is going to pretend to Annika and Rachel, oh, I'm on the bottom. Help me. Give me a name to vote for. I just want something that I'm not voted out. Work with me kind of thing. Then Annika and Rachel, they do give him a fake plan and give them Sam's name. Like, okay, obviously they're not going to give Sierra's name. So Sam's the only person they would give the fake plan of. But also, Rachel and Annika know this is a fake plan because Sam has an idol. Like, it's not really a fake, real plan. Oh, we're going to switch the votes kind of thing. So I do really want to know, like, was Sam, Sierra, and Andy's acting just that good that everyone believed it? Rachel and Annika didn't think that anything was up. Sierra's acting was good to make sure that the women thought they were all still the breadwinners going into this. Andy's acting was that good, thinking he was on the bottom. Like, that's wild. No one questioned anything.
Yeah, I do wonder because like players have said in previous seasons that like everyone's name gets brought up at least once, and then like we obviously as viewers see the story edited to make it make sense why the person who went home. Like they have enough footage to justify any vote out that happens, and then they edit it in a way that makes sense for the viewer. Amazing how editing works. So I wonder if part of it is just the edit not showing us people being like suspicious.
Yeah, but then Annika going in so confident, and then even in her exit confessional saying, oh my gosh, I was way too confident going into this. So it seems like she was very confident. Okay, the plan is Andy here. We're going to vote him out. Honestly, though, I feel like Andy's masterminding the entire tribe right now. Like I think on paper, like for the other teams going into the merge, they're going to think this is Sam and Sierra's power duo, power couple move. I feel like this is low key Andy's power move.
Not sure I agree with that take, but it's certainly a take to have.
I feel like Andy's in the best spot going into the merge on yellow, and honestly, it's karma for voting out John.
I was gonna say, Andy shouldn't be here because they should have voted him out night one. But I guess Andy rising from the ashes to be the new like power person from Yellow would be an interesting plot twist. We do love a good underdog story, so yeah.
Because I feel like Sam not playing the idol, it's good and bad. Like, good, he didn't ruin the relationship with Andy right now, because when everyone on this tribe knows that he has the idol, but Andy doesn't know has the idol. Alyssa and I, we were talking about this on the podcast, like, okay, this is sort of bad because if Andy finds out, is he going to be offended that his bestie didn't tell him this kind of thing? So it'll be interesting to see now if Rachel goes and is like, okay, Rachel could totally blow things up with this information and say, Sam found that beware advantage. He had the idol. He didn't play it this time, and could tell Andy this. And then maybe Andy will be offended and not wanted to work with Sam anymore.
Yeah, but then Rachel doing that would only make it a 2-2 tie unless somehow like Sierra also was willing to ditch Sam, but then also trying to vote Sam out when he still has the idol probably wouldn't be the best choice. So I don't know.
But it's a one-time idol, so it's over.
Oh, right. This is why I always forget who had which idol. So yeah, the one-time idol. Yeah. So never mind then. Sierra might turn on Sam next episode because if Rachel really wants to like blow that up, that would be spicy.
Honestly, I feel like Sierra made a bad move this time. We were talking about it last week. I feel like she should have went with the women. Sam's effing over her game. I think she does need to vote Sam out. Like, going into the fake merge next week, everyone's going to think this is Sam and Sierra's power move together to vote out Annika. Rachel is going into the fake merge mad at you probably, and maybe going to jump ship. We saw Rachel, Caroline, Teeny forming bonds. Rachel has options, but if Sierra kept the breadwinners strong, like we said last week, okay, the fake merge usually happens at 12 or 13. You might try to guesstimate, okay, when is this going to happen? And risk it a little bit and just hope you don't go to tribal again. You would have went into the fake merge breadwinner strong while also keeping Sam there. And if you voted out Andy here, you could easily say, yeah, me as Sam and Sierra, we don't have a power couple duo. It's actually like women working together. At least it's not Sam and Sierra working together, putting that target on your back. I feel like they're going to be an easy target come the merge and makes them a threat level. And like we haven't really seen other out there power duos that people have talked about. Like we've seen relationships and alliances form, like Gabe, Caroline, Sue as a threesome. But like this is the basically public relationship that we've seen. And so I feel like people are going to just target them easily.
Plus, they had that whole conversation about like what's good for my game as an individual might not be what's best for our game as a duo. And I'm kind of like, if you have someone who is your primary alliance partner and your goals are not aligned, like maybe they shouldn't be your primary alliance partner, because then it's just going to get really messy really fast. Because I could see like next week then them being like bickering about like, well, we voted out Annika because it was good for you, but it wasn't good for me, so now we have to do the one that's like, I feel like it could build up a lot of resentment really quickly.
I agree. I feel like for Sam, keeping Andy is a little bit safer because if they thought maybe the fake merge wasn't next week, okay, it's not 3 women versus you, Sam. It's a little bit safer here kind of thing. But I do feel like Andy, I think they're underestimating him. I think Andy can go into the merge and easily jump ship. Like we see after that first episode, he is more normal. He is thinking strategy. He's not having those outbursts anymore. I feel like going into the merge, Andy and Rachel could be in a very good spot. Andy has the amulet idol with the other 2 people and has maybe formed connections from going on the journey and maybe being seen and underestimated because of his outbursts in the first episode. But I feel like for Sam and Sierra, I think they're going to get targeted really soon.
Yeah, I could not see both Sam and Sierra lasting long term. I could see one of them like maybe lasting, and then the other one like, well, kind of what traditionally happens with power couples, where one of them gets gunned down and then the other one can last a little longer as a solo. Like, I don't think they would get voted out back to back, but yeah, I agree that they're definitely really pushing the narrative of like Sam and Sierra are a power couple and everyone sees it.
I agree. I think they like we said about Rachel, Annika going is good for Rachel here. They got to let the other one go for their own prosperity in the game. Don't necessarily need to target them. Maybe you throw them under the bus a little, but I agree. Sierra needs to vote out Sam. I think more so than Sam needs to vote out Sierra, because usually in these like man-woman power couples, Sierra's going to get voted out over Sam. So Sierra should vote Sam out.
Yes, she should. And I hope that that's what happens next week.
So we see Annika's reaction to be voted out, and her face is so shocked. Andy is sitting there smiling, and then when they all exit, he's smiling, holding the torch, which is just so funny next to Annika's super shocked face. Yeah, it's sort of funny, sort of sad.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. Like I mentioned earlier, I really don't like it when someone gets voted out when they didn't even get to compete in the challenge, and then Annika didn't even have a vote, which like kind of her own fault, but also like it was a game of chance, so not really her fault. So I didn't like it. It was sad that she was so sad.
Straight face when being voted out, and then immediately crying when you're walking down the pathway. I was like, same. Like you'd be stoic when you're getting voted out, but I'd be like, F this. My dreams are crushed and I'm voted out one vote before the fake merge. Sucks. I'd cry too.
At least I feel like people are like, oh, one vote before the fake merge, but then the fake merge, when you get voted out, sometimes you're not even on the jury. So it's like, then if she were to get voted out at the fake merge, we would be like, well, she only got voted out one vote before the jury. And then like, so I feel like definitely with the pre-jury vote outs, you always are like, oh, they should have made it to this next milestone, but there's always going to be like another milestone that you feel like they should have made it to, especially if you like them as a character. So
that's exactly what we're going to be saying next week. We're like, oh, sucks for that person. They didn't get the merge buff. And then the week after, oh, sucks. They didn't make it to the jury, but at least they got the merge buff.
yeah. But then after that, or if they do the stupid like vote off a jury member thing again, oh, sucks that they made it onto the jury but didn't get to like actually cast a jury vote.
Oh, everything just sucks. Oh, your first boot sucks. Second boot. Oh, dang. You're the first off your tribe, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a fun episode of Survivor. I am very excited for next week with the fake mergatory happening. I like the social hour twist. So let us know in the comments down below what you thought of social hour. Do you think Tiana should have threw Gabe under the bus? And do you think that Sam and Sierra made the right move here? And for each of them, because I think the answer might change depending on which of Sam and Sierra you are. So let us know in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.